Hello, hello. Welcome to the backyard. Today we are joined by a very special guest. We have the one, the only, the world famous Artoonist, aka Kali.
Hey.
How's it going, man? How you doing?
I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
I had a nap before you came over here, so I'm feeling great. I'm feeling rejuvenated.
Yeah, no, I wish I would have taken a nap before I got here,
You should
but
have. You should.
yeah, I'm a little groggy right now, but that's okay. We're gonna have a good conversation.
For sure.
So tell them what you've been up to. What's going on? You just wrapped up the Artoonist Art Heist at Stick.
Yeah.
What was the experience like with that? The setup, the story behind it. What's going on?
It was a lot that was going on in the development of it. So look, I would say September-ish of 2024. I had talked to Sandra Perron. Shout out to Sandra. Great person. She's great at her job. She's the director of the Amy Carberry Fine Arts Gallery, and she had approached me because she had seen something I had done with the APE gallery, and she was like, "Hey, let's have a meeting." And then she was like, "All right, cool, let's figure out something." And I was just like, "Okay, I have this idea for this." And it was cut and dry. It was a copy and paste idea, and I was just like, I don't want to do that. Let's do something different. So we had another meeting after that, and I was like, you know what we should do? Give me some time to put together an escape room / art exhibit. And she was like, I'm 100% down.
That's such a such a good idea.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that. Like an artist putting together their own escape room.
Yeah,
it's very original. It was so cool to be there.
I didn't think that people would like it as much as they did, and much reception as I've got. And people were saying they liked it because you could tell there was effort put into it. And I was just like, oh, and it wasn't like a cheap gimmicky type of thing. It was well thought out. And they're like, yo, you really sat and thought this out. And I was just like, wow. The fact that the work can reflect that, and I don't have to say anything, is speaks volumes to the effort that I put into it. And it made me feel good because I was like, dang, these people took the time and energy to do this, and they noticed. And I was like, man, I'll take that. You don't even got to pay me for this. That was more than, you know what I'm saying? It was worth its weight in gold for people to say exactly how they felt about what I kind of put out. And that's kind of what we do as artists. We put out things to see how we make people feel, and we are putting ourselves out there. It's like a vulnerability thing.
It's a risk.
Yeah. And then I took that. It was a big risk too, because neither me or Sandra didn't know how it was going to turn out. So it was just I was just playing escape room games on my phone, doing a bunch of research on YouTube, just trying to figure out, okay, what are the mechanics of escape room? How do you make all these things work together? And I just was in the lab just cooking stuff up. And then I also wanted the Stick students to be able to kind of add their own input and have a real impact on the room, because that was a requirement that Sandra had asked. She was like, I want it to be a collaborative thing. I want the Stick students to be able to actually work on this with you. And I gave them free range to be able to do that. Any input you have, anything you want to, any ideas you have, you can put them in this. And it will be a thing, versus just taking a suggestion, or oh, take your little stupid idea and go away. Go sit down. Let me do all the work. It wasn't like
taking
that.
them seriously.
I was like, whatever you say, it can happen. This is the opportunity to have these ideas. A lot of times students are not in that mindset. And I was like, I need to open them up to be able to have a say in a way that's real, and it actually affects the real world, because they can do that without me being there. So I just need them to have the opportunity to be able to do it, which is really great.
Just having the opportunity to create that experience with you is so valuable. And I'm sure you bonded with them.
Julia, Brandon, Damaris, all helped. Yeah, they helped with the room. Awesome. I was asking them questions, and they were kind of hesitant at first, but then they were like, yeah, let's, they were gung ho. They were so they were giddy about it. And I was so elated to be able to see them get excited the same way I was when I first started working on it. It was like, perfect. This is the type of person I need to push this forward and make this happen. Yeah. And they did really well. Shout out to Julia. Julia was really a lot more hands-on as far as I come up with ideas for stuff, and allowing me to be able to kind of put those things in her hand and just give a lot of input. Brandon was good too, Demara, she was cutting up a bunch of paper. She was doing a lot of, the putting together of things because we had planned some stuff, and she was cutting paper money for me, which was great.
Do you think that you could have done that on your own?
Probably. I honestly, right? I probably could have, but it wouldn't have been as good of an experience for me just doing it. It would have a little bit of like, I don't want to say content. I don't want to say that, but it would have been a little bit of not a struggle. I don't want to say that. It's not the word. But I would have felt some type of way, like, okay, I got to do this whole thing. I got to make sure this works, makes it, and it wouldn't have been fun. It wouldn't have been like an experience. I would have just been the only one having, and it was like I would rather share that with other people, being able to build an escape, like even just saying it, right?
Yeah,
I helped put this together, this cool thing, because that's all we want to do is make cool things. And a lot of times it's like when you get the opportunity to actually make something that's going to impact a bunch of people. So having that experience alone was like, okay,
yeah. When you create something together with other people, you share that experience and you share the stories that you created with them, and that's so important. I think stories are the most important thing to walk away with when you're doing anything, right? You want to be able to go, remember that time we put together the escape room? Like, just to be able to say that, right? Yeah.
You're on your deathbed, you're like, oh, I had too much cereal. I'm on my way out. Right? Right? And you're like, remember that time we made that escape room? Yeah, that was a good time, and then these good times will add up over time.
Yeah.
So that's
just make you feel better about yourself. Like, just the fact that your life is filled with these great moments with other people, and then you get to talk to other people about how that made you feel. And it's that's something I want to do more of is collaborative work. That's what I'm really trying to get done with this. But
thank you for letting me be a part of your journey.
Yeah, no, right? of course, man, you're awesome. I had to have you on here.
Yeah, well, look, man, I think you're awesome too. It's so funny because when I first met you, I was sitting across from you at the Artist Cafe and you were drawing. And you didn't know who I was or anything. And you were just drawing. I'm like,
I think I remember that actually.
Yeah, exactly. Core memory unlocked. You were sitting across from me and I was like, oh, I've seen it. I noticed you before you noticed me. I've seen your work. I had seen you. You had done something. I think you had done the Kaleidoscope group. I seen that. And then I was looking at some of your work. I was like, yo, this guy, he's actually good.
Thank you.
Like, what? And then I'm sitting across from you while you're actually working on something. So I was like, oh, this is awesome. All right, cool.
That's crazy. Like, and then now that I think about it, I do remember
You probably were like, who's this?
No, but you sat across from me and you like, you were just so easily approachable. And I appreciate that. I didn't even think about that. That's awesome.
No, I focus. I pay attention to people. Yeah. And it's just like, look at where we're at now. You're in my house, bro.
Yeah, like, no, that's awesome. Yeah,
which is cool.
And so that's something through all the things that I've done throughout in our community. It just has felt so good to build relationships with the people in it. It gives me a sense of self-worth, and it's important to have that togetherness, that
camaraderie, right?
Yeah,
fellowshipping and people. And imagine living life and walking through life like just nobody else is there. It's just you. And it's like, that's lonely. That's a lonely
that
existence.
sounds like a terrible.
You're not experiencing life, right? Like me and my sisters are super close. I got 4 sisters. Jonay, Samadi, Urania. We would go to the Price Right, the store, and we would have a ball. It didn't matter where we went. We would have a ball because we'd be acting silly and running around the aisles, like just having fun. And having that experience made me realize that it doesn't matter like where you go, it's who you go with. And there's people who you want to go certain places with. And you're one of those people. I want to go somewhere with James. Let's go. Like, what do you want to do? Let's go do, Like, let's build something. And I always try to keep that a part of everything that I do. Like, no matter what project, like, let's build something together, because then this is what it does. It also inspires the generation behind us. I'm in my 30s now, my early 30s, and it's been hitting home like, wow, I don't have a lot of time. Like, I need to do something with my life.
What do you think about like leaving a legacy and having one?
I think it's important because, like you said, the self-worth thing as artists, we don't really have. We have trouble in that area, right? Not to say we don't have self-worth, But we have trouble in that area because we have something so valuable that's unique to us that we don't see it. Other people see it though. So there's like an anointing on us that is God-given, and we have to be able to recognize it ourselves. And we have to go through the journey of that to make us better. If you never realize it, you'll stay, you stay low. But when you start to realize that, oh wow, like I can do these things are available to me, and everything is already inside of me, I just have to pull it out. And that's a part of like a lot of stuff I do too. Like while I'm doing all these projects, I'm pulling these things out of myself that I didn't know was there. Like just constantly working on stuff, like doing the mural at Duggan. Like I didn't know I really was good at working with students till just recently, and I've been doing it for years. I did enrichments. I've been doing, painting. I've done paint sips. I've done tons of things that were oriented towards community and having people around and inspiring them and kind of just pushing people, put my hand in their back. And my mom would yell at me, but you need to be a teacher. And I'm like, I don't be no teacher. I'll be stuck in no school. You know what I'm saying? Hot school.
You gotta
bad
follow their
kids.
rules.
Like I don't do. But I ended up doing that anyway, but in my own way. And that's what you have to do as an artist or any type of creator, right? You have to find your lane that you're in, be so good at it, and be so different and unique, because there's room. Whether people believe it or not, there's room enough for everybody, because not everybody does the same thing, and everybody's unique to their own space, and you have to be able to have the environment around you as an individual to kind of grow into who you're supposed to be. You were designed as this one thing, and then when you're born, you have to get back to it. You have to find your way back to it. And I always try to push people back to who they're supposed to be. Like you're supposed to be this great person. You're supposed to be this great artist, musician, videographer, director, writer. Even if you're a grip, be the best grip there ever was. My grandfather, this is gonna sound crazy, but he said this. He would say this to my aunts. My aunts told us, he said, "If you're gonna be a hoe, be the best hoe in the world." And I was just like, "What? Like that sounds crazy." But in the essence of what he was saying was like, if you're gonna do something, you just better be the best that there is. Don't be the best criminal. Don't do the best murderer. Don't do those things, right? Let's bring it back. But like, if you're gonna do something, you need to be at the highest level and the most elite at it. And it kind of stuck with me when they said that. I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, am I already equipped to kind of put myself in a position to do that, to be the best artist? I'm not the best. Let's just get that clear. But if I'm gonna try my best as far as taking a leap of faith and jumping and trying to be, and I'm use everything, my face, my fingers, my nails, like everything, every idea, then I should do it and just see let's just see what happens. And now we're here. Yeah. Right? Like I'm creating all this stuff. I got shows, I got programs I'm helping run, co-creating. Like it's just a lot of stuff, and it's been a tough journey, and it's not all it hasn't been
all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, it hasn't been. It's been a lot more rainy days than people have seen. And I've already experienced what it's like when somebody sees that you have a calling over your life and them being jealous just because, and mind you, this person could make more money than you. They can have everything, but they don't have that glow that you have, and they will try to snatch it from you. So it's like, wow, I don't want to be on that side of that. I want to be on the other side of the fence. Like, don't let anybody steal your light, right? Any of your God-given abilities, talents. Don't let anybody talk you out of your position or your blessings, because I've had people do that to me. And I would implore that anybody who is a upcoming artist, whatever you want to do, dabble in it as long as you can until you figure out something else if you don't like it. Like, always try different things. I remember when I first started doing art, I had a bunch of different styles I was doing, but people liked all the styles, and they were selling. So I'm like, but I don't want to do it. So I was like, I'm not gonna force myself to kind of fit in this niche. I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. And I didn't want to be stuck in a lane. So I would just try to get a piece of everything, right? If it's a buffet, you don't know what you like. So let me just try. I've done ice sculpting. I suck at that because I didn't have the tools.
At least you tried.
Or the time or energy to be able to carve a 300 block of 300-pound block of ice. Like, we don't have that many days of winter, you know, especially living in New England. So how I'm gonna be practicing? I'm gonna practice in summer. Where? You know? So it's like I can't be good at everything. Okay, that's cool. I can do some chalk, drawings. I've been doing that forever. You know, I can do all these things, but I wouldn't have known if I didn't try or attempt it. And I always try to get people just trying to like open up your palette, like try these different things, because you don't know, this might be the thing that might separate you from everybody else. Like somebody might be the ultimate chalk artist and they don't know because they never picked it up. They're trying to paint. They're already trying to paint and they suck at it. And it's like, or they do good enough to where it looks like, you know, high level stuff. But then if you were to pick this chalk thing up, you would be in a whole nother stratosphere.
A whole new world, yeah.
Right. And it's like, I knew I had to do that because this goes back to a lot of stuff that I like to talk about too, is your identity, right? As a human being, as a person, as a spirit, right? You have an identity. You have a heavenly identity that you have to kind of figure out. And it's up to you to try to get there. Like it's up to you. Like you, before you were born, you were a person. You were a person. Let's say you were a spirit existing as the top level of whatever, right? Whatever field you're in. Let's say butterfly therapist. You were the best butterfly therapist before you got here on Earth.
I've never heard of that.
I just made that up. I just made that. You're the best butterfly therapist there could ever be. But you didn't know that until you tried other stuff on the other side.
Until you took that leap, yeah.
So it's like you have to really like do a lot of soul searching and trying to figure out. Some people figure it out early, and I'm so jealous of them because if I started doing stuff like this when I was younger and stuck with it,
yeah, but I feel the same way. I remember you telling me about how you spent a lot of your life just like from job to job, picking up skills that way, and then you got into your art like maybe within not even like the last 5-6 years.
Actually, I was 28. I'm 32 now. I'm going to be 32 in December. So like roughly around 3 or 4 years.
And what was that initial push that kind of got you into, if you don't mind me asking?
So I noticed that, like I was telling you about the skills, right? I was picking up skills to get other jobs. It was like a circular rat race type of thing. Like it's a circular motion. Like, okay, I'm going to get this skill to get this job. And then after 2 years, I'm going to go use these skills that I've acquired from these 2 jobs to get another job. And I was just like, this is dumb. And it's fruitless in a way that, I was making money, but the fulfillment and my purpose wasn't attached to it. You know, like it's such a night and day thing to be able to live in your purpose and just work. Because when you're just working, you don't want to be there. You're not going to spend extra time doing it. You're not going to have the full focus. You know what I'm saying? Like there's things that are going to distract you from your job that you are not going to pour into as much as you would if it was attached to your purpose. So like there's been times where I haven't got paid for stuff. I spent hours building these projects, didn't get paid at all, but I keep doing it because I know it's going to get me somewhere. Like there's a pot of gold at the end over here, but over here it's not really as fruitful. It's not really as engaging. I don't have to engage my brain as much over here. You know, most jobs you just have to show up on time.
And just exist. And
I was sick of that, especially like
it like takes away from like you feel like you don't have a purpose when you're just sitting around doing nothing at a job, right?
And I always try to make sure that I focus on the things that are important, right? I got kids, I have a family, and I represent all of them and myself. My parents I'll be honest, this is the most I've heard them say I'm proud of you, because they see me like working towards a vision, a goal. Like you're trying to be this artist. It's so funny because it's like I'm in the middle of it, so I don't see that, but they see it. And the fact that they're proud of me attempting to do the things that they've seen me do as a kid. You know, like I'm coloring, I'm doing all these things, and I just consistently do those things. And then to be an adult and still do those things and kind of give them like a flashback. Like he was doing this when he was little. He was doing, you know what I'm saying? Building stuff, contraptions.
This was always him.
It was always him. And now you like they see me being myself and being successful at it. And it's like, wow, like this is so much more fulfilling than working at the post office, right? Working at the post office from like 3 to 12.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
There's times where you do have to do that.
Yeah, at a necessity for sure.
Yeah, because there's a level of grind that you have to kind of build as a youngster, right? I used to do a lot of like church events, cleaning up, like janitor job, like scrubbing toilets, mopping, sweeping. I used to industrial paint houses. We put in these cabinets in this house, like you name it. Like I've done it as far as like being hands on with stuff. Mowed lawns, like all of that helps build your character, and ultimately it allowed me to realize and be a servant to other people. And that's what we're all here to do. I think this is my opinion. I think we're here to be in service of each other, right? When somebody's down and out, you need to service them in the way that they need, not the way you want to service them. Like we're here to help each other out in a way that is not selfish, it's selfless. And it's like if I'm not who I am to the best degree, how can I encourage you to do that? You know, when you're depressed or you're sad or you're angry about something, and you feel that hole, right? You feel a hole, a black hole that's missing, because we all have that experience of like not feeling like we're chasing something and then there's something that's missing, and if you don't have the right people around you, you're always gonna feel like that, you know. And to continue to be able to kind of help people realize like, oh no, this is the thing you need, you know, and kind of give them the idea, because that's what conversations are for. Like even us just talking, I need to give you the idea of what it's supposed to be, like, or just allow you to walk you through that it's possible a lot of times, and to be able to service you in the way that will get you to the next level or get you know what I'm saying? And I've had people do that for me a lot, and I want to also do that for other people. Like I want to work with young artists. I want to work with people who need the opportunity versus want it. But if both match, that's great. But a lot of people don't take a stab at certain things because they just weren't told that they could do it. There's so many times I've talked to people and they're like, I would have never done it if you never said anything. And I'm like, all I have to do is just say something. All right, cool. That's what I'll do. From now on, I'll always say, I don't care who you are. If you're 60 billion years old, right? You could be a painter.
Yeah. Anybody
can.
Yeah,
you could be an artist. It's never too late. Right? And I always think about a decision. It's always a decision if you can do the thing you want to do. I just had a conversation with one of my friends, and he was fed up about some stuff that was going on at work. And I was just like, you just have to decide. You already are a great artist. You just have to decide. And he's like, I don't know where to start. And I'm like, you just have to decide to start. That's it. That's the only thing that separates you from somebody who's been stagnant, mopping floors when they want to be a painter. Like, just do it. You know, and I mean, take it seriously too, because a lot of times people have one foot in, one foot out. You can't do that. You can't be two places at once. It's really hard to work a full-time job and do something that you really want to do and really want to take a strive in. Not to say that it's not possible, but you can't hit it as hard. If I had a full-time job right now, I wouldn't be able to hit the things that I want to do as hard and give it the attention that is needed if I did, because I would be distracted. I would be getting in trouble at work. I'd be, you know what I'm saying? Those things would be like, why are you making a schedule for the summer? Why are you trying to go to the Black Boy Art Show? Like, why are you taking days off to do those things? Like, because this is what I want to do. And that's stressful.
Yeah, people, like, I've gotten that before, and it's ridiculous.
So I know, I'm telling you.
Because I have a life outside of work. Excuse me, but
no, exactly. And they don't want you. They want you to be focused on their vision and their purpose and their goals. And it's like, I wouldn't be here if you weren't paying me. So, okay, let's X that out. Okay, if you weren't paying me, what would I be doing? I would always have that conversation with myself. Like, if I didn't have to be here, what would I be doing? I'm like, I would probably be trying to have a kickball game right now. It's nice out. You know what I'm saying? Like, stuff like that. And I plan to have stuff like that down the pipeline, but you have to make it so that it works for you. right? And you also got to make it so that there's money attached to it, so you can survive. But if the money didn't exist and you could walk outside and just eat fruits off the trees, you would do those things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So why not create a world that's like that?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they don't assassinate me for this, but I'm serious. Like,
yeah, but this is
birds
the type
don't
of
pay
ideology
rent.
that
Birds don't pay rent.
Yeah.
Squirrels don't pay rent.
Mm-hmm. They're just chilling. They're just doing their thing.
Humans are the only people that pay to be here.
Mm-hmm. Pay to live. Yeah, it's crazy.
$10. I was just in the supermarket. $11 for eggs, a dozen eggs. I said, chickens. You could get a chicken for like $30,
mm-hmm.
and have eggs all the time.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
It doesn't make any sense. So it's like, okay, wait. I'm talking anti-matrix stuff right now. So look, I don't want to get wiped out.
No, you'll be good. We'll be good.
But
put you on witness protection.
Yeah, please do. Look, make sure you get this interview out in time because I don't want to go missing.
Nah, I will. We'll make sure if Khalid dies, it was not suicide.
Right, it was not. I'm happy. Look at all this great art I'm making. I'm happy. He's good. Right. I got stuff to live for. I got stuff to do. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, wait. It don't have to be like this. And I made that decision in my life. Like, I don't have to work this 9 to 5. Like, I don't have to. But it was tough. I'm going to tell you, it was really tough making that transition. The transition period is where you make or break, where you get to find out what you're made of. Mm-hmm. And I'm hard-headed. So I already knew, like, if I'm headed in this direction, that's just where I'm going. 100%.
So you are obviously very comfortable with taking or doing, like, challenging yourself with new experiences, like the art heist, or with your work with the youth, right? Yeah. You just kind of take it as it goes. Do it scared. Mm-hmm. I'll do that a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, perfect example, the art heist. Would you say that's like a tip to do it scared? Or? Absolutely, 100%. It's not just a tip. Mm-hmm. It's something that you have to decide. Mm-hmm. And doing the art heist, we had so many hiccups come up, like with the work study students, like not being able to come into work. You know, when the gallery needed to be worked on because they had to get their the FAFSA stuff straight. We had snow days. We had this like a spring break for the college students that came up. So like, I'm staring at this empty room, and I'm hearing, "Oh, we got a snow day tomorrow. You're not gonna be able to do anything." What? What do you mean I'm not gonna be able to do anything? Well, stay as long as you can. And then I ended up getting kicked out at like 3 o'clock in the morning because I was there working. I was like, I lost track of time. I was just like, no, I got to keep going because this exhibit opens in like a few days. You know, like I have to put something up. The reception was great. Like I had stuff in place. I had stuff open. The room was not even done, but people were trying to figure it out. And I'm like, I'm not even done with this. I got like 3 or 4 more puzzles to do. You know, people, they didn't care. They had a blast, which is great because it's like, all these hiccups and all this effort and all this time and energy that was put into it. I had to make the flyers. Not that I had to, but if I'm going to put myself on a project, I want to make it my own. I want to make it so that other people know that, okay, this was something that I did, you know, with Stick. Like it was a partnership that we came together and do it on. And it wasn't like they hired me. You know what I'm saying? It was like, no, we're going to work on this together. We're going to make this. And I always try to avoid working for people because then there's like a weird dynamic that people get, power trip. And I know you've experienced it, like where it's like, no, you need to do this right now because blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't like this. Let's be partners. How about that? Because then we become equals, and then your ideas are valid and my ideas are valid, and then there's a wiggle room for us to grow in that, and we can create something that's way better because there was a mutual exchange there versus being told what to do. And there's nothing wrong with working a job. There's nothing wrong with having a boss, but you need to have your vision align with theirs. And a lot of times I try to work with organizations, community members, individuals that have the same vision as I do, because it just makes everything easier. It just like it's a breath of fresh air to be able to come in, walk in, be excited to work, and not have to worry about like the people that you work with
is Jimbo, the boss man, gonna come in and we gotta like pretend we're working
or restart the entire project,
right?
You know, like,
and it's like
it's kind of like what you said in our conversation before we started with Nintendo and the video games. Like the artists, they have their own vision. but the corporation, their vision of just dollar signs, it supersedes everything.
And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you start to chop up my painting so it can fit in this box, that's that. Not that I take issue, but the audience is losing out. Some stuff you do need to cut down on. Some stuff you do need to kind of, edit, right, and make it make sense. But when it's almost like for no reason, that's when you have a problem. It's like you did this, why? And then they can't. Well, we have blah blah blah, and it's like when people BS you, like, oh yeah, James, I need you to come in early for work. Why? Well, because blah 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 blah, and it sounds like the most like generic. Well, we have some stuff, and it's like, okay, but that's not my job. Why you have me come in early to do this? That's your job, and that happens all the time. And it's like, you don't want that to happen when you're working on a painting. No. Imagine having a boss telling what to do every single time you do a brushstroke. Well, no, you need to do a wider brushstroke. You never painted in your life. Why are you telling me anything? You hired me to do this job. Let me do my job. Man, they're micromanaging. Yeah, micromanaging.
I hate that.
It's not good. It's not good for.
I experienced a lot of that in retail, and it. Anyway, because that's a side topic.
They have to pretend like they're working, and everybody's like raked over the coals, and they got like this overseer whipping them like, get back to work, and it's like, it's not that serious. It's actually not. A lot of issues that people have in like the workspace are not even. They're so minuscule. It's just people don't have their thing that they're doing. They're not in their lane, and they're miserable, and they're like, I want to make everybody else miserable because of it.
And I have to hear my boss talk shit just because I couldn't sell enough of whatever, or because I couldn't reach a deadline. It's ridiculous.
It's not a healthy environment for an artist to grow or exist. And I was like, I'm not, no shade to the post office. They do great work, but there was times I was sitting in there. I'm just like, this is a monkey's job. It really is. I was like, this is a monkey's job. Like some people, you
don't have to think.
But for me, it was not it. There's no thinking. Like you said, there's no thinking, and I'm a thinker. So I'm sitting here coming with all these ideas. I got in trouble because I would draw on the boxes.
Well, not on the boxes, but on like the sticky notes.
We would have these like 2.5 foot, 3 foot boxes that mail would fall into, and I would draw on the whole side of the box because we had so much time. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but we had so much leftover time. I'm like, I can't do this. There's too much time that's being wasted.
Too much like dead air.
Yeah, and it was just dead air, dead air, dead air, dead air every week, every day. I'm just like,
wait, that's just time that you're wasting that could be spent on
anything
enriching yourself.
Anything else, literally anything else. And I don't have that anymore. I don't have enough. I wish I could buy more time now. Now it's like, okay, I have a curriculum I have to put together in like 2 weeks. Okay, cool. I have this art show I want to go to in Brooklyn. I have to figure out how to get there, transportation, like how much money do I need? You know what I'm saying? Like there's so much more thinking. There's so much more things that take up my time. I still make time to relax, right? But that's mixed in now. So it's when I need it, not versus when, okay, you know what I'm saying? Like,
company's out
like, okay, 12 o'clock, you have to eat because you know you're not going to be able to if you don't take the time now because you got to go back to work. I have a very fluid schedule. Like, okay, cool. What's the project? The beginning of this year, I was doing a business accelerator program. I was working on this stick art heist. I was working on a show in East Hampton. Like I was working on the mural. Like I was doing all those things.
All at once?
Yeah, all at one time.
And all that time that like that would be dead air. You're just.
I'm on to the next thing.
You're still going.
And the difference between that and working a job was that I actually care about all this other stuff that I'm doing, and it's going to lead to something eventually. If I didn't get paid for none of that, I would be okay with it because I produced something that satiated that purpose or oh gosh, it's just like the missing piece that people don't realize that they need. Like that satisfaction.
There's so much freedom that comes with it.
There's freedom, but this is what people don't understand. With freedom comes responsibility. And I'm okay with having the freedom and this type of responsibility because I chose it. I chose to do all these things. I chose to say yes to these obligations. That's what I chose to say yes to these programs and opportunities. And the freedom is that I get to create something I was going to do anyway. I was going to create these things anyway because I was like, you know what? That sounds pretty cool. An art heist. All right, let's do it. Let's see what. Yeah. And there's no like. There's no better feeling than completing something that you really worked hard on. There's you can't. If I could buy that feeling, I would.
That's that good dopamine.
Yeah. and it's what it does is a stepping stone. Like even for young artists, like it's a stepping stone for you to, kind of just use for the next project. I get more excited about the next project I'm gonna work on and the in between. Right, the start is cool. The finish is because it's over, but the middle part, the journey is like the best thing ever. Like. We didn't have this, but we figured it out. Or we were trying to make this thing work and it didn't work, but then we figured out this was actually a better option. And like just those little hurdles and
the
things.
problem solving and figuring it out with a whole group of other people.
Yeah, you can't really. Yeah, it's unmatched.
All right, we're back. One question I wanted to ask you was, even though you love doing the art that you do, and you do have a lot going on, a lot of stuff that is valuable to you. How do you deal? Do you ever get burnt out? And how do you deal with that?
So, it took me a while to figure out burnout. I thought burnout meant you stop. Doesn't mean you stop. It's you transition the medium that you're working in. For me, so like I would get burnt out drawing. Right, I'm like, I want to draw. Then I would switch over to doing something graphic. Then I would switch over to sketching, like just ideas, not really like making something concrete, doing conceptual stuff, or like it's like a cycle, and you have to figure out your cycle as an artist or as a creator because your burnout might not look like my burnout. My burnout is I pour everything I have into a painting or idea, and then I'm done, and I'm like, I don't have any more ideas left, and then for me to move forward artistically, I have to switch to. Let me just write some poetry. And it also matters like where I am in the moment too. Like I know I'm coming out of a season of creating these, really big projects. And then I'm about to go into a season of creating, lesson plans and programming. And I know that's coming up. So, okay, cool. No matter how I'm feeling, that's the priority, but I still have the stuff on the back burner. I may feel like, I want to sketch. Okay, let's sketch the ideas for the program. Yeah. Let's get, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you kind of have to just make how you're feeling work for you in the direction you want to go. So perfect example, I had the programming for Birth of an Artist last year. And for whatever reason, I wanted to create these money things. Mind you, I had designed them digitally first. And I just wanted to do it. There was no rhyme or reason why I wanted to make my own dollar bills that I was like, I could like give out to people. And I was like, I can use this in the program. And I did. I used it as currency for them to be able to auction their artwork off to each other. And then I also used it for them to be able to buy materials from my shop that I had. So it's like I took something that I was already doing and then implemented it into the thing that was also doing. That is
such an insanely creative idea.
It sounds like it, but it really was just happenstance. Like I just happened to want to do those things at the right time and implement it.
That's your creativity, you know? That's it's coming from you,
right?
And you are insanely creative. Right. So like,
I think everybody is. You just have to. It's almost like a muscle. You have to work it out enough to know that okay. Like, I want to do this, but how do I make it work for me? And it goes back to the problem solving. It's like, okay, I don't have a lesson. I don't have one lesson for this day. What do I do? You know? I'm going to use this for 2 days worth of lessons because I can take the money and I can use it for them to understand, like, okay, I need 30% of, like, commission because I'm the auctioneer. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a tool for them to be able to use. And maybe you're right. I don't know. Maybe I am a creative in a way that people aren't. And I just use what I know. I don't do anything different. So what I know might not be what you know. You might know more stuff about, I don't know, taxidermy. And you might use it in your artwork, you know? And then you can implement that into a program like, okay, cool, this is anatomy. You need to understand anatomy. You could teach that. So it's just it's the same thing, but you just have to like flip the perspective on just individuals and just figure out for them to figure out, or you, how to use everything available to you.
Would you recommend that artists kind of challenge themselves constantly?
Always, because you're sharpening a tool. You are the tool, and when you keep your tool sharp, when you start doing things that people would stumble through, right? They're going the same direction, right? But they're going to stumble through them because they don't know the small ins and outs of like, don't do this because don't paint with this color because this is translucent. It's not going to be as opaque because it's yellow. Paint with a darker, like yellow gold or something that has a little bit more pigment in it. Don't use this specific paint type because it's going to do, because you did the hard work of actually attempting it first, and it's like a nuance to it. So if you challenge yourself enough, you cut out time and energy for yourself spent on trying to figure it out. So when you have something that you haven't done before, you approach it in a different way because you've already done the work. So when you don't challenge yourself, you stay stagnant and you still stay in that same frame of mind, that same perspective that you had. And I like that question a lot because it challenges other individuals to push themselves, and when you do, you become better, and then you can produce better things because you're better
and ultimately serve people,
right? And it's like, well, if you didn't challenge yourself, you would probably still be making stick figures. Like, you'd be still drawing the same circle over and over again.
No, for sure.
Like, oh, that's a cool circle, but can you do anything else?
Yeah, like my thing is drawing anything below the waist. You know, when I'm drawing people. Yeah. I just don't draw legs.
No, but you know what? Challenge yourself to do, like I've done art studies because same thing. I don't understand the anatomy of a human. I don't understand these things. So I got a book, just copied exactly what the book had in it. And then you gained, oh man, there's an anatomy book that was so good. It was like made in like the 50s. And I had drawn an arm and I had drawn legs, and I never drawn them before, but I drew them with the muscle tissue. When I drew that, I was like, oh wow. So when you turn your wrist, it are like the muscles still stay in the same spot, but it twists. You're like, even the skin on your arm, like when you twist it, like some skin doesn't really move, and it's such a weird, like, you wouldn't notice it if you're day to day, but because you took the time to study it, it's like, whoa. Like if you're tattooing somebody and you have something right here in your forearm and you twist your arm, it's still in the same spot. You wouldn't have known that if you didn't take that time to do a work study. Like a couple of these pieces in here were actually studies that I did before I started. So like this,
stylizing them.
Yeah. So like that one, and then these two over here. There was 4 pieces that I did while I was studying neo-expressionism. I was studying neo-expressionism because I didn't understand it. I was studying Jean-Michel because I didn't get it. I was like, this is dumb. How is this $140 million?
That's what I was thinking of when I first started finding out about Basquiat. I was like, people like this, but then I was like,
I didn't get it.
Yeah,
I didn't get it. Then when I did the work and studied it, I was like, oh, it's relatable because this is how people drew when they were kids, and people gravitate towards that because it's something familiar to them. And I was watching, I think he was auctioneer. I can't remember who he was, but he sold art. He might have been an art broker. He was saying that the things that sell and things that make the most money are things that are familiar. There's context, and then there's a little bit of surprise at it. And I'm like, from now on, this is what I'm doing. Those are the elements that I need. And I sell work like that because of it. Like I just sold 2, I'm dating myself. Oh my gosh. It was a Metabee and then a Ryushu. It was these 2 anime characters, like robots. I had done them. And I'm like, whoa. Like, the formula still works.
Is that the are those Gundam?
So they're like little robot characters that are from a Japanese anime called Metabots. And I used to play the game as a kid. I was like, okay, let me just see if I could do them. And my sister's boyfriend, he was walking through the house. He saw him. He was like, how much for those? I was just like, bro, I can't keep nothing. I can't keep nothing in here. But because it was those elements I was working at, I always knew that what work will sell, you know? And you kind of have to, that's something I had to figure out that other artists, they need to figure out too. Because I know a lot of times people want to do what they want to do, right? They want to do a cow floating in the field. Like, okay, that's cool. But that's as far as it'll go. Like, people say it's nice and keep it pushing. But as an artist, you want to sell work too. You can't just, can't live off of paint, right? And canvases, you can't eat those. So it's like, there's a level of give that you have to have for an audience to be able to like your work and purchase it. And finding that gray area where your expertise and what you care about and your interest matches theirs is a fine balance. That's the difference between a piece being sold or it be sitting in. A lot of this stuff I don't really show. That's the only reason why it's not gone. It's literally the only reason why, or the price is a little too high, or you know what I'm saying, whatever. But a lot of times my stuff sells, and it's because I work out of that, and I'm willing to meet the customer in the middle and be a servant, right? Be a servant to what people want. Right, because you don't need art. You don't need it so you can live. You need water. You need to be able to use the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need food. Those are things you need to do. Art is not one of those things, and I understand that. So when you have that understanding, you're able to figure out what you're willing to give up. Like, okay, I'm willing to give up what I want to do so that they can have this artwork, so that I can have a way for income or cash flow to be in. You know? And
it's not sacrifice involved.
Yeah, there's a lot of sacrifice. And you also have to make yourself diverse in a way so that you have multiple streams of cash flow coming in different ways. So it's like, okay, I have this art piece. You sell it and then it's done, right? But you want to eat off of it. Take a picture of it. Make it into a print. Now you printing money. You know what I'm saying? Versus, oh, I got to make another one. I got to spend 8 hours again. It's like, no, you don't have to. I'm crazy and I like to do that. I like to just make stuff. So I've learned that I have to
make it easier for yourself.
Make it easier for myself, because I'll spend 4 hours on a piece and sell it and be okay with it, you know. And then I'd be like, man, it wasn't worth what I sold it for. It doesn't matter the money either. Like, if I sold it for $1 million, that's cool, but I want my piece back.
It's hard to let go.
And it's like, dang it, but I sell that. I got pieces that I know that are really dope. That I sold them for like $100. I'm like, dude, damn. It was like a 48 by 24, and I had
48 by 24.
It's really small, like, it's really long, but it's really skinny, and it's like 4 of them I think I've done, and I sold them for $100 a piece, and everyone has like little knickknacks. It has like Fox from Super Smash Bros. It has, Ninja Turtles, Pokemon balls, AK-47s, like just random stuff on this little thing. And it's like, oh man, if I just had those in my house, I would be so elated to have them. And it's like, nope.
Because it feels good to have work on display, just to remind yourself of what you're
where
capable
you came from. And it's like a story that goes with all the works. Like, I remember pieces that I've sold people. Like, I remember I was at Westfield State University, and this girl, she was like, I'm really depressed, and your art kind of like livened me up, and I want to buy this piece from you, $60. I remember what I sold it for. I remember who I sold it to. And she was like, no, this is helping me right now. And I was just like, whoa. Damn. I didn't think this was that. But it's just popsicles with really bright colors, stupid faces. Like, but it spoke to her in a way that kind of resonated with me. Not kind of, it did resonate with me in a way that kind of made me like, oh man, like I didn't know I had this impact. I just was making something that was fun that I knew would sell. Like, but I didn't know that it was gonna make her feel joy. The joy that I had working on the piece, it transitioned to her, and that's why she wanted it. It's like, man, the fact that I had this ability to do that, and not just me, but I realized that I had the ability to do it. Other artists have the ability to do it. Even you with your interviews, you're gonna see down the line that what you're doing is giving people a platform, and then you're transforming their lives. You're giving them access. You're giving an audience access to the artist, and the artist access to an audience. So you're opening doors, and you're gonna realize that this is gonna open the door for you too as well. And when you get there, we'll do another interview. You
interview me?
Yeah, I'll interview you. I have a problem with that. That'd be cool. Like,
I don't know if I'm a great interviewee, but yeah, no. What you're saying about that girl? You made something that you just loved, or that you would like, and and it touched her, and just having that, it does fill your soul, and just being able to serve somebody like that, like everything I do, I like to believe I do it to serve other people, like through these interviews, and it's so important to me, and it's just yourself that they're falling in love with, or it's a great feeling.
And it's interesting to be able to see how that transfer energy, right? Like, you did something because you loved it, and then they love it too because you loved it. And I was like, whoa, that's powerful. That's like, it's almost like magic, right? And it's like, wow, okay, I gotta be careful. I gotta be very careful what I put out now. And then there's a responsibility that I kind of took on when I started doing that. It was like, oh, wow, like, if I can do that with the positive stuff, that means I can also do that with negative things. And I already tested that out, and that was like, it was mind blowing. That whole story is crazy. We'll have to do it for it. I'll tell you that story for another interview. But that whole story of like transfer energy and like what you put your heart into, people feel it, people notice it, and like the escape room, people could feel that I really like put a lot of effort into it. It was well thought out. It wasn't just like color this circle and flip this knob. It wasn't like a Fisher Price toy you could just pick up and just push the buttons. It was like, no, you actually can't get in here if you don't do this. If you don't put any effort into trying to do this, you will not get to the next step. And that's one thing that I would implore any artist to do the effort. Like, you'll reap the benefits of it in the end. Because I know for sure that a lot of stuff that I'm doing is so transformative and innovative, and it's a lot of pioneering. I think, is it Damon from Shark Tank, one of the millionaires?
I have no idea. Is that the bald? No, it's Kevin. I was thinking of Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin, the bald dude, the bald black dude. He said pioneers get slaughtered because when you're trying to do something that's different, and I always like pay attention to stuff like that. Why would he say he's a millionaire? He said pioneers get started because what you're doing is you're making a path for people behind you, and you have to deal with everything that comes with that direction you're going. Whether if it's bears, I think about Lewis and Clark, like in Sacagawea, right? It's like Sacagawea was actually leading all that, but that's neither here nor there. But the fact that they were trying to make a path for people, there's things that they encountered that other people will not have to deal with because they dealt with it. And it's the same thing that I'm trying to do with a lot of the creative work that I'm doing. I want to cut a path for the people behind me, for it to be easier for them to have access to funding, to grants, to even just have the idea of creating the idea that they had when they were a kid. Like, oh, I want to make a room where it's like you're inside of the crane game where you could pick people up and put them different places. Like that sounds insane. But if you actually make it happen, then there's a transcendence that happens when you go from an idea to something you can physically touch. And people don't realize that they can do that too. Like, everything is in the power of your tongue.
You can will anything into existence.
Anything. But you got to be careful though. You got to be responsible enough to do it.
Like Uncle Ben said.
Yeah, right. With great power, right? And I want to inspire the young people to do that, but also do it in the right way, because you can inspire radicals, you know what I'm saying, for the wrong things and for wrong. And I'm only speaking about bad morals and bad ethics. You don't want to inspire people in that direction. You want people to be able to be of service. When you're of service, that's a position that's really, I'll say light leaning versus dark leaning, because that's something that's nobody's gonna beat you up because, well, they might, but nobody in the grand scheme of things, your life will be a beacon instead of a black hole.
So what is the Artoonist's next path that he's carving? What for people to follow? What you got going on?
So I have a project. I don't want to say what it is, only because I don't want anybody to take it, do it first, and trash it. So it's a citywide project. I do want to get organizations involved. I think that'll be really cool to be able to do. But I can't say what it is. It's coming down the pipeline. There's actually a few things I do want to do. And I want to do them in Springfield, but I'm going to go where I'm loved. Yeah. That's just what I'm going to do from now on. I'm going to go where I'm loved and celebrate it versus trying to like push stuff on people, because it doesn't really work. But this project will be a citywide project. It'll be big. You'll hear about it. Hopefully I can find some backing for it. That'll be nice. If I have to come out of pocket and do it guerrilla style, I'm going to do it. But this is something for next year I definitely want to do. I'm going to be working with the Lighthouse in Holyoke.
The school?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we can do a fundraising project with them. I want to do that by next year. I also want to work with, I actually do have some grants I did apply for through Assets for Artists and Community Foundation. Hopefully I can do those projects. I may have to apply for something else. Maybe I'll do that. I'll do my little secret project and apply for it through them. That'd be really cool to do. And then have, anybody who wants to be a part of it, be a part of it, and then make it really work. If you like the escape room, if people like the escape room, they're going to like this next project that I definitely want to do. It might change. I don't know. It just depends.
We'll see. It's fluid.
Yeah.
But that's exciting.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm just going to try to make it interesting and make it so that people can walk away with something, like a good memory.
Yeah. One last question for you. Paraphrased or as short as you can, what is your dream project?
My dream project is always my next best project that I can think of.
Okay.
That's as weird as that sounds.
That's a valid answer.
The next, because when I had done the blank canvas exhibition in Northampton, I had no idea what I was going to do next for a big project. And then I did the escape room. And I'm like, I don't know what the next thing I'm going to do after. So it's always like, once I finish one thing, the next one is, I know it's going to be cool and I know it's going to be different. And I always try to differentiate these projects because I don't like rinse and repeating things. I don't. If somebody paid me $1 million to do the blank canvas again, I'd probably be like,
I mean, for $1 million,
I'll do it, but it won't be as good. It won't have as much life. You know
if
what
it's
I'm
just
saying?
like a one-time thing, it's like a moment, it has more value.
Create a moment. Yeah. So that's like my thing that I want to do. My next big project is the next one.
Would you say you always strive for bigger and better?
Not just bigger and better, but add dimension to it, right? You want to make it so that it's an experience. If I can add an immersive experience to everything I do, it doesn't matter what it is. As long as that's the key element in it, I know there's success behind it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Kali, the world famous, one and only, amazing, awesome Artoonist. This has been The Backyard.
Woo.
Thank you, May, very much for joining us, and y'all take care now. Peace out.
All right, yo.